It's November 8th, 2016, India, 11 p.m. Prime Minister Narendra Modi appears on national television, unannounced, unscheduled, with no press conference and no warning given to anyone. He looks into the camera and delivers a sentence that freezes 1.3 billion people in place. From midnight to night, the 501,000 rupee notes in your pocket are no longer legal tender. In one breath, 86% of all cash in circulation was declared worthless. Not frozen, not devalued, worthless. Imagine waking up tomorrow and every bill in your wallet, every note your grandmother kept in a tin box, every rupee saved under a mattress, suddenly cannot buy you a single cup of tea. That happened to real people in the world's largest democracy, and the government called it a masterstroke. To understand why Modi did this, you have to understand the problem he claimed to be solving. India in 2016 had a shadow economy that economists estimated at roughly 20% of GDP. Black money, untaxed, undeclared, untraceable cash was embedded in everything. Bribes paid in cash, real estate purchased in cash, political campaigns funded in cash. The 501,000 rupee notes were the workhorses of this shadow economy, high value and invisible to tax authorities. Think of it like this. Imagine your city has a massive crime problem fueled by real currency. So the government burns all the real bills too, forces every citizen to come to a bank, and catches the criminals when they show up with suitcases of cash they cannot explain. On paper, it sounds almost clever. In practice, it was a catastrophe. Here is how demonetization was supposed to work. Step 1. Announce it with zero warning, because surprise is the weapon and black money hoarders will have no time to launder their cash. Step 2. Give citizens 50 days to deposit old notes into banks or exchange them for new ones. Step 3. Flag large and suspicious deposits, investigate them, catch the corrupt, and return clean money to everyone who had done nothing wrong. Elegant, simple, surgical. But here is what the government forgot. India runs on cash, not in the occasional way a developed economy uses cash, but in the way that cash is the entire economy for hundreds of millions of people. Street vendors, farmers, daily wage laborers, domestic workers, rickshaw drivers. In 2016, nearly 190 million Indian adults had no bank account at all, and the new notes the government printed to replace the old ones, they were the wrong size. ATMs across the country could not dispense them without physical recalibration, and there were not enough new notes in circulation anyway. It was not a policy rollout, it was a controlled demolition, except nobody controlled it. The lines began forming before sunrise. Elderly men and women, many of whom had never set foot inside a bank in their entire lives, stood in queues for 6, 8, sometimes 10 hours in the November heat. Some collapsed. Hospitals reported turning away patients because their families only carried the old, now worthless notes and could not pay for treatment. Wedding seasons, sacred and years in the saving in Indian culture, were shattered overnight. Farmers could not buy seeds for the coming season. Street markets froze. The informal credit system that had sustained daily commerce for generations, where a vegetable vendor borrows 500 rupees at dawn and repays it at dusk, stopped functioning entirely. The Reserve Bank of India issued over 50 separate regulatory changes in the 50 days following the announcement, roughly one patch per day, desperately trying to plug holes as they appeared. And the black money? The government had promised it would be destroyed, that no corrupt hoarder would dare walk into a bank with millions in unexplained cash. Instead, 99.3% of all demonetized currency was returned to the banks. Every rupee. The corrupt hired armies of poor people to deposit small amounts. They laundered cash through rural bank accounts opened for the poor. They used jewelers, shell companies, and political party channels, all under-monitored or exempt. The trap caught almost no one it was designed to catch. The people it did catch were the ones who had done nothing wrong. The economic damage was swift and measurable. India's GDP growth fell by at least 1.5 percentage points in the quarters that followed. Small and medium businesses, the backbone of Indian employment, reported revenue collapses of 30 to 50% in the weeks after the announcement. The informal sector, which employs over 80% of India's entire workforce, was paralyzed. And when economists and former advisors later reflected on what had happened, many admitted that the policy's architects had been given days, not months, to prepare. Some said they raised concerns. Those concerns were overruled. India survived. Its economy recovered. Digital payments accelerated dramatically. Modi won re-election in 2019 by a larger margin than before. So was demonetization a failure?
That depends entirely on who you ask and what you believe governments are actually optimizing for, because here is what history shows us across every monetary disruption from Weimar Germany to Zimbabwe to Argentina. When a government reshapes the money supply, the wealthy adapt first and the poor recover last. Always, without exception, demonetization did not destroy black money. It destroyed the convenience of black money briefly, while destroying the livelihoods of millions of people who had no black money at all. The lesson is not that governments are evil. The lesson is simpler and more unsettling than that. The people who design monetary policy rarely stand in a bank queue, and they never have to. If your government announced tonight that your largest banknote was worthless by morning, how much would you lose? And who do you think would lose more, you or them? Tell me in the comments.